Do you agree with the call for that Sirianni wants to pass the ball there?
Well, it's not just pass the ball. It's the type of call that he made. I absolutely think it was a good call. 100%. Because if you look at what happened, so you gave the quarterback a run pass option. If the back isn't wide open, he could go down and take the sack, where you get the time off the clock, you kick the field goal. So you've got that component. If he's wide open, which he was, you throw him the ball. He came back. He came out of the backfield from the dotted I, which means he was directly behind the quarterback, which means that the guy who has to cover him is a middle linebacker. He's got further to go. Everybody thinks they're going to run the ball. That's when you want to have an option like this. So we could sit here, prisoner of the moment, because he dropped the ball, because a good call had a drop on it, on a easy catch and throw with your two best players on the field. We're going to say it's a bad call.
No,
that's not true. This ends the game if he catches the ball, and everybody's like, wow, what a great call. Way to take advantage of what they're doing.
You got away with it.
Because he dropped the ball. It's not you got away with it.
You got away with what they were praying you would do. Your opponent prayed you would do anything other than run right up the middle.
No, you're wrong.
Okay.
Your opponent prays that you have your best player is wide open.
Because that still can happen. Because even with your best player wide open in the flat, you lose.
Hey, Nick, know what can happen on a handoff?
Yes.
You can fumble.
Yes, of course
that could happen. And even your best player could fumble the ball.
You can fumble, but it is a game of probabilities. And in the league this year, there have been 29 lost fumbles, there have been 60 drops, and it's worse than that because you can only drop the pass.
What percentage of drops does Saquon have?
Well, he has 0 fumbles, Coach. I know he has 1 drop. I don't know if he has other drops, but I know he has.
How many drops have been 2-yard passes?
0 fumbles and 1 drop.
But big drop. That's a pretty.
No, hold on, guys.
What if he fumbled on that one? Then he'd have 1 fumble and 0 drops.
And even if he had fumbled on that one, it wouldn't have been as damaging. Because oddly, you'd be up 3 instead of up 6, which is a whole other argument, but they probably would have gone to overtime in that circumstance. But take that away. Take that away. We are operating as if getting a first down passing the ball would get you some extra credit.
No.
Like that's better. Hold on. Like that's better than running it. They have been gashing them all game. If you run the ball. And
I like how he says, hold on. And when he was interrupting Mangini, the entire time Mangini was trying to talk. And then starts yelling at him when he's like, this is what the defense was hoping. And Mangini, an actual defensive coach, who obviously worked with Bill Belichick, is telling him, no, that's not what the defense is thinking. They were not hoping that that was going to happen. And Nick is so confident that he's right, that he somehow knows more than Mangini in that situation. You can disagree with Mangini. Absolutely. But to have the confidence, the insane confidence that what you're thinking is 100% right and there's no way they were thinking otherwise, an actual NFL coach is kind of crazy to me. I mean, it really is. And I know a lot of fans are going to be like, yeah, well, Mangini, there's a reason why he's not in the NFL. And it's like, dude, like, you think you know more now than an NFL coach like that? Like, it's hilarious to me when we want to pick and choose, when we want to trust an ex-player or an ex-coach. We can disagree. I disagree all the time with ex-athletes in the NFL, coaches and all that. We can disagree. But to be with the level of confidence, because I could say, you know what, I think that they should have run the ball. Right. And I think, like, I understand what Mangini's saying, but I'm a little bit more conservative. I would have appreciated the handoff. It's a different energy rather than just being like, you're wrong. What you're saying is there's no chance of you being correct. You have no idea what you're talking about. There's a different way to go about doing it. And I'm confused why Nick is so passionate about this very specific. He's more intense about this than anything he's been with Brock Purdy and the 49ers. Heck, even the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills. Like, he is bringing insane passion. He did it in every single Eagles segment. They've now had 3 Eagles segments now. Okay, one was just about Sirianni, which he went off on, which I actually agreed with him in that one. Because before other people want to say, you just want to disagree with Nick, you just want to disagree with it. I literally agreed with Nick in my first Philadelphia Eagles video with regards to Sirianni. I completely agreed with him. I agree with who I think is accurate, and then I share my opinion, and I disagree with someone who I think is being inaccurate or being inconsistent, and then I share my opinion. That's how I go about doing it. So it's just this whole thing right here is fascinating to see. Fascinating.
And let's just say you don't pick it up. Then you have a litany of options, and most importantly, Atlanta has 1 minute instead of a minute 40. The right call there, obviously, is really to run the ball twice. And if you don't pick it up, then they are backed up inside their own 5 with less than a minute left, down 3, where they have to go 60 yards to tie you. Instead, you gave them 100 seconds to go 70 yards to beat you, which is absolutely bananas.
They left 34 seconds. They scored with 34
Yep.
seconds left on the clock.
Yep.
So the difference is 6 seconds. So you're
Yeah,
saying
so
that
yep.
you're saying that they couldn't have scored
No.
with that 6-second difference.
No, what I am
You're guaranteeing that.
No. The only thing any of us can guarantee is they called a pass and lost. Everything else is theoretical. What I can guarantee
After the
is they
fact,
call.
you can look at
no,
it and
it's
say,
not after
that's
the
a
fact.
bad call because your
Coach,
best
Yeah,
player dropped
because
the ball.
if he had caught
It's
that,
bad.
and
They
they
would have
win the
gotten
game,
away with it.
No, what would you have? Would you have come on here and said it was a bad call?
We wouldn't have led the show with it. It would have been one of the many things coaches do that they get away with at times. This is not complicated.
No,
Bro,
right, it's not. He should have caught the ball.
yes, he should have, but it doesn't make it the right call.
Nick.
Yes, it does, because we know for a fact that if Andy Reid dials up that play and Patrick Mahomes rolls out and makes that pass, he would have said, every other coach under the sun would have run. Every other coach would have called. But when you have Patrick Mahomes and you got Pacheco, that's what they do. That's what they do. Every other team, 31 other teams and 31 other coaches, they would have just handed the ball off. But not Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, because that's what they do. That's what they would do. That's what we would know. We know. That's not even theoretical. That's as good as a fact.
The game is not just analytic. You know,
It's not even
the last
analytics.
guy who was coaching, because everything you said was about probability. The last guy that coached that
Staley.
way was Brandon Staley. How'd he do?
Exactly.
Everything was probability.
Well, actually,
You
Dan
should do this
Campbell
way.
is the guy
And he
who coaches that way,
Well,
and
he's
you
still
love him.
coaching.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about and Dan Campbell cost them the playoff game last year. All right, so I'm just saying the bottom
And
line.
the game against the
look, they
Bucks.
were running all over him, and I said earlier, run the football.
Yes.
But to blame Sirianni more than Saquon Barkley is not. He got to catch the football. I don't care what the coach calls. It's up to the players to execute. It wasn't a tough play. It wasn't a 15-yard out. It wasn't a tough catch in the corner of the end zone. It was a 10-yard air pass that he should have had.
I agree with that 100%. But the point is that there was no one can identify the down. If let's just say they ran it there, you can run this play Coach loves so much on 4th down. And with no, if you drop it on 4th down, doesn't even really matter. Clock stopping anyway. No one can identify. The only thing anyone has identified as the nerd is, I guess you could fumble. But we all agree that you are more likely to have a drop than a fumble. So the only, is there a downside? Someone tell me the downside to running that ball on 3rd down in that spot. Anybody? No.
But Nick, if you have a good play with a wide open player, your best player, your most reliable player, and you give the quarterback a run pass option so that if it's covered, he can go down and eat up the clock, and your player is wide open and he drops the ball.
But this is what we say.
Why is that a bad play?
Because drops
It's a bad
happen
play.
at a rate so much higher than fumbles.
For the Kansas City Chiefs, not necessarily for Saquon Barkley.
But they literally do though. They do
For
though.
Saquon Barkley?
Yes, Saquon Barkley's not a fumbler. Saquon, yes, and guys, sometimes it's not complicated.
Right.
The Falcons were thrilled.
I think that's a good argument.
If before they saw the play.
So you're guaranteeing that they're going to go ahead and march down the field against the defense and score a touchdown?
No.
What are those probabilities?
No. Again, I'm not trying to be patronizing here. That actually doesn't factor into the math. Because if they don't march down the field, it doesn't matter. If they don't march down the field, then you could have Jalen Hurts do a quick kick. You could have Sirianni run on the field. It doesn't matter. You operate assuming, okay, if the other team doesn't score, it doesn't matter what we do here, we win no matter what, we have the lead. So you throw that out entirely. It is a question of putting your team in the best position to win. And it is also a question of, after that second down play, were the Atlanta Falcons coaches and players hoping against hope that they do anything other than run the ball up the middle?
So
I mean, we don't know what they were hoping, to be honest. I know they weren't hoping for a wide open Saquon Barkley in the flat. I know they weren't hoping for that.
They took advantage of the fact that they were stacked up inside and they were going to try
Yeah.
to stop the run, to have your running back wide open in the flat for an easy throw and catch.
They took advantage of the
and
fact.
in professional football, you assume that that player is going to be able to make that play.
Yes, they took advantage.
Yeah. Now they're just kind of repeating themselves and going in circles. Listen, I'm not here to say whether it was the right call or the wrong call, okay? But the outcome was the outcome, and the play was the play. Sirianni or Kellen Moore or whoever we want to, really blame or put it, what you always do as a coach is you put your players, one of the most important things a coach can do, if not the most important thing, is to put the players in a position to succeed and not put them in a position to fail, okay? Saquon Barkley was empowered and entrusted with the ball to be thrown to him in a position where he's going to succeed 99% of the time. People want to talk about Saquon Barkley dropping some passes. Not that close. Not like that. Okay, right. Is Saquon Barkley an elite wide receiver? No. Will he catch that ball 99% of the time? Absolutely. He wouldn't be in the NFL if he couldn't. Okay? My mom can catch that ball 99% of the time. It just is what it is. It just happened. It just happened. They put the Eagles... The coaches have put the Eagles in a position to win that game, to make that play, a very easy play. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. It was a great play that was dialed up at a great time, and it just wasn't executed properly. It's that simple. It really is. It's that simple. If you want to make the argument, should they have gone for it on fourth down? Should they have run twice and made sure that they just went and got the first down? We can make those arguments. We can have that discussion. Absolutely. We can. And it's worth discussing. It is, because I'm not here telling you that I love everything Sirianni does. I'm not even telling you that, hey, they should have just ran the ball twice or ran the ball once, or even what Nick is saying is wrong. I'm not even saying that. Like I said, I defended what Nick said in my first video and said, hey, it is interesting, some of the math that you look at it, some of the analytics, and how you would rather the team, like the opposing team who's down, going for a field goal to tie it rather than a touchdown to win it. Like it is. It's all interesting, but it's not 100% binary. It's not 100% right or wrong. That's not how sports are played. It's just not. It's a combination. It's a combination of using some of the things that Nick is saying and using some of the things that Mangini is saying. It's not all or nothing. That's not the way this works. So just to completely bash it as just that this whole thing was indefensible, that it was just 100% the wrong move to make, that is where I majorly disagree with some of the conversations that are being had. Okay? It just is. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you agree with Mangini on this side, that it was a great call and a great decision to make? Or do you believe with what Nick Wright is saying, that it was just a 100% wrong move? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.